Hey friends, now if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you'll probably know that I do have a bit of an affinity for failed platforms, you might say. Now I've done videos in the past about the Atari Jaguar, the Philips CDI, the Commodore CD-TV, and I will admit, I got most of those systems after they failed as a bit of a curiosity. But there have been times in my past when I've unintentionally backed the wrong horse, you could say. And cast your mind back to 2007, and that was actually quite a landmark year in technology for me, as I got a new job in a new city in Bristol, across the other side of the country. Moved there without any friends or anything, didn't know anybody there. So what I did is I actually got back into video games that year after about a 6 or a 7 year break, and I picked up this, of course, the infamous Xbox 360, probably my favourite console of all time. And I spotted this in the window of GameStation and thought, yeah, why don't I try and get back into gaming? And I'd heard about online gaming, and I thought then that enabled me to reconnect to my friends who lived across the country. The amount of late nights we had playing games like Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4. This system really was a lifeline to me, when I moved to a new town on my own. And also that year, I upgraded to an HD television to go with my new Xbox 360. And I got a 32-inch Samsung Plasma TV. And that was quite an upgrade over my 28-inch CRT that I had before that. But I wanted some HD content to watch on my fancy new TV. And that, of course, is where today's story comes in. Unfortunately, trying to get into HD in 2007 meant that I landed right in the middle of a good old-fashioned format war.
HD DVD players sell for as little as $150. Blu-rays are twice that, but experts warn not to jump at the best deal, because if you're on the losing side of the battle, you could end up with a player that's obsolete soon. And to fully take advantage of the improved picture quality with either format, you'll need the latest HD TV as well.
And that's when I got this bad boy. Now, I've actually got two of these, and one of them, as I said before, I paid, pretty much full price for. And this one that is still in the box, I got around a year later for about £5, I think it was. They were practically giving them away at that stage. And to be fair, it was worth getting hold of one of these again, just because it came with the full-size Xbox 360 media remote. And I think these were about £15 on their own. So, for a fiver, getting one of these, it was worth buying one for anyway. And it also means that I've got a backup player in case my original HD DVD drive died, as, I realised then they weren't going to be making any more of these anytime soon. Now, the box, the design of it actually matches the look of the Xbox 360 packaging, and we have a little label there that tells us it's 6 times more clarity. It doesn't say more than what, maybe DVD or VHS. And then we get a few specs on the side as well. It's telling us about, things you can do picture in picture. We get a family sitting around in a fancy skyrise apartment there, watching HD DVD, just waiting for the movie to start. The view will blow you away, the sound will amaze you. Add stunning HD DVD with 6 times the clarity of standard DVD. There you go. An immersive surround sound to your Xbox 360 console. A few more specs and a picture of it and what's included in the box on the side of it there. And then if we look inside, it actually opens a bit like an original Xbox 360 box does. So it kind of just pulls open here. And get all this on camera. A bit hard to do leaning around the camera. And there we go. So the first thing we see is we do have a rather chunky manual included for something that's as simple as an external DVD drive, essentially. Obviously in all different languages there. So nothing that we'd ever want to read. We also have the install CD here as well. And I think when they did the NXE update, or one of the earlier ones, they actually bundled this software with that, or you could just download it straight from Xbox Live. I remember not actually needing this from memory. So yeah, it looks like it's never been opened, but we'll have a look at that in a bit. Also, we have a little mini setup guide here. Now, I'll talk you through the setup, as actually it was quite well planned due to the limitations of the original Xbox 360 and USB ports. Actually thought it out quite well, and there, as you can see, it's got the design of the Xbox 360's Blades dashboard, which was my favourite design. And then we have the HD DVD drive in here, so if I can get this out without knocking the camera, move that to one side, and there we go. And the design of it actually does match the original Xbox 360 really well. It's the same styling, the same color scheme on there as well. You've got the Xbox 360 logo, and we have the tray that matches the premium model of the Xbox 360. Mine is actually a core. I think they renamed it to arcade a bit later, so I've got a white tray that didn't actually match this. So yeah, I guess I expected if you're going to go to the expense of buying one of these, you probably had a premium console. And then we've got the little rubber feet on the bottom that are the same as the Xbox 360, as you could just lie it down horizontally, or it would stand vertically as well, a bit like the console, so you know, depending on how much room you had in your home theater setup. And then we have a little compartment at the bottom here that I think from memory just had a bunch of cables and stuff in there. Yeah, there we go. So we have like the power connector. Yes, it did need its own power supply, and the USB cable, and the media remote would have been in there as well. So that's everything in the box of the Xbox 360 HD DVD drive. Pretty well packaged, and you know, it did feel like a premium product, which it was when it first came out. And they also made a rare black version of this drive. Now, these were only ever given away to the development team who worked on the drive. You couldn't actually buy these, which was a bit of a shame, as it would have matched the look of the Elite Xbox 360 or the later Slim model. And as mentioned, the HD DVD drive connects to the Xbox 360 via the USB port, which was actually a bit of a problem on the original launch Xbox 360, as it only actually had one USB port on the rear. And as you can see, if you wanted your 360 to be wireless enabled, you had to buy this external Wi-Fi dongle for £50. Yep, really, it didn't come with built-in Wi-Fi. Bargain Microsoft. And that actually mounted on the back of the 360 with these little clips, and it plugged into the only USB port on the back of the system. So that was a bit of a problem. I mean, obviously you could connect the HD DVD drive to these front USB ports under this flap here, but that looked a bit unsightly, having a cable running out of there all the time. But luckily, they did actually consider that. If you look on the back of the HD DVD drive, they did actually give us a couple of additional USB ports. So that meant when you connected this to the micro USB port on the back of the HD DVD drive, you would then plug that into your Xbox 360, and actually you gained a port really, because you have an additional port there, but one can be taken up with the Wi-Fi module. And like on the back of the console, they include the mounts as well. So all you do is, same as with the console, clip it into place and then connect that to one of the USB ports underneath. And that's actually quite a tidy solution. I mean, you can position the aerial up or down, and it actually connected there and worked just great. And also you need to connect the power supply as well, as yep, the HD DVD drive needed its own power supply. By the time I had this, and then a couple of years later the Kinect, that with my 360 also needed a power supply, and the console itself, yeah, Microsoft were kind of reaching Sega Mega Drive Tower of Power status with the amount of power supplies that you needed for this setup. And this is how I had it set up in my home theatre for a good few years. And over those years, I did actually amass quite a collection of HD DVDs. And I was still picking these up in like 2012, as for a time I saw these on sale, and they're often cheaper than the DVD version, never mind Blu-rays. And even today you can find the odd one or two in places like CEX, although whenever you try and buy them, you inevitably get into the conversation with the salesperson at the checkout when they make sure that you know what you're buying and you understand that it won't play on a Blu-ray or a DVD player every single time. And the cases for HD DVDs actually look very similar to Blu-ray, with the same kind of curved corners on them. They're around the same size as well, and the weight's pretty similar. The main difference is that instead of being the bright blue colour of Blu-rays, these are this kind of maroon red colour, which I'll be honest, when I saw these on store shelves, I didn't think they actually stood out quite as much as Blu-ray, which you could spot a mile away. And they also had the slogan on the bottom of pretty much all the discs, the look and sound of perfect. And inside you usually got a flyer with most of the discs as well. I think this is in pretty much all the ones I got back in the day. Yeah, you'd often get this in there. But essentially was in there to sing the virtues of the format, which I thought was a little bit strange, as obviously if you bought one of these, there's probably a pretty good chance that you've already got an HD DVD player, so quite why they were trying to sell one to you, I'm not really sure. Kind of preaching to the converted there. And most of the discs had the HD DVD logo kind of embedded in the corner of the disc design as well, with a bit of a hologram kind of effect on it. I'm not sure whether that shows up on camera too well, but I did think it was quite a nice design. And the discs themselves are actually, they don't really feel quite like Blu-rays. You know, if you felt a Blu-ray disc, you know they feel a little bit curved around the edges, if you get what I mean. These actually feel just like standard DVDs or CDs even. And not all HD DVDs look like that. In fact, some of them were double-sided discs. For example, this one, The Matrix, as you can see if I take this out of here, have to be careful not to touch it. There's data on both sides of it. That's because one side of it is a standard DVD, and on the other side of it we've got the HD DVD version, which was actually quite a nice design, and it saved on, you know, doubling discs like you got in Blu-ray and DVD combi releases, although it did mean that you couldn't give the DVD copy away to a friend. And as you can see here, we've got a receipt in this one. Where did I buy this from then? I lived in Bristol at the time, so it looks like I went to Cheltenham, which wasn't too far away, and I paid £21.95 for Knocked Up, starring Seth Rogen. And that was on the 1st of September 2007. What a bargain. So obviously this setup is now well over a decade old. Does it still work? Well, I'll be honest, I haven't tried it for a good few years, and I'm not really too concerned about the HD DVD drive. Like I said, you know, I've actually got two of them anyway, so if one doesn't work, we can just try the other one. I am slightly more concerned about the console itself. Now, as I mentioned, I got that back in 2007, and I replaced it with an Xbox 360 Slim in around 2011. So this has been in the cupboard for a good few years, and I can't actually remember when it was last powered up, but it's definitely been a good few years. And obviously this is an old school original core model, even before they put the HDMI port on the system, so there's a pretty high chance that when we plug this in and turn it on, it's just going to red ring instantly, but you know, we'll give it a try. So we've got the drive connected to the 360's USB port, we plug the beefy power plug and the massive power brick into the 360, get the VGA cable in there, and here is the test. Please don't red ring. Please don't red ring. And just before we do that, I wanted to take a quick moment to give a big thank you to this video's sponsor, my amazing friends at Skillshare. Now, 2020 hasn't been the year that any of us expected, and if you're uncertain about what's next for you, now is actually the perfect time to learn new skills and find a like-minded community who can give you support and encouragement. And Skillshare are a huge online learning community where millions of people from all around the world come together to take their next step in their own creative journey. And they've got thousands of classes designed for creative and curious people on all kinds of topics, from illustration, design, photography, video freelancing, and lots more, all in easy to digest parts. And of course, SEO is important for any content creator or just anyone with a website really. And I found Rand Fishkin's series on SEO tactics and strategies to be invaluable. Now, this class shares actionable insights and tactics for optimizing your content and organically raising the online presence of your business or your brand. And that's just one of the amazing classes that you'll find on Skillshare, which is also incredibly affordable, especially at the moment with a lot of us working from home. It's a great way to learn with the extra time and a lot cheaper and safer than pricey in-person workshops, with an annual subscription being less than $10 a month. Now, Skillshare have been kind enough to support my channel, so please do check this out. I want you to join us on our journey and become part of the Skillshare community. And I've managed to get an amazing offer that you'll have to be quick to claim, as it's strictly limited to the first 1,000 of my viewers to click the link in this video description, and you will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity and passion. So claim it quick and help out the channel thanks to our friends at Skillshare. And will you look at that? So looks on our side so far, we got past the main obstacle, the Xbox 360 booted and didn't red ring yet. I'm hoping you can hear me over the sound of the Xbox fans as well. I'd forgotten how loud these original units were. Now, I did say that we have the setup CD, which I've never actually used because it's still sealed here. I'm not sure we actually need it, but we'll give it a try anyway. And it looks like the tray on the Xbox is stuck. Let me give it a little wiggle. Like I said, it's been a few years. And we'll try inserting the HD DVD drive setup just to see what it does. And we should be able to control what's on screen with the media remote, and we can play a game. Okay, that was quick. Installation complete. Your console has been updated to work with HD DVD player. To launch a DVD or an HD DVD disc from the Xbox dashboard, select the bottom part of the disc tray button on the dashboard. And as you can see, the design of it is the old school Xbox Blade look. So, yeah, that was it. So we'll take that out and we'll try an HD DVD. And the tray opens on the drive okay, so we'll pop in Serenity, the Firefly movie. That's quite a slow moving tray. Now I do remember before they updated this, it used to have a blade of its own, like I think I mentioned before. However, by this stage, when this version of the Xbox dashboard had come around, oh there you go, it started playing automatically, but I do remember it's buried quite deep in one of the menus. Let's just see if we can find it actually, where it is, because I'm quite interested. Yes, it's not on the front one. It's probably on movies and TV. In there. Oh, there you go. HD DVD, yeah. So, buried like 2 menus deep. And hopefully we can see some of the nice HD DVD introduction graphics on here. And it does look really sharp actually via VGA. Running at 1080p. Really nice picture. I mean, in terms of quality, it was up there with Blu-ray. And there we go, that nicely rendered 3D HD DVD logo. And there we have some nice menus. I do remember that HD DVDs actually tended to have a bit more interactive features and menus than the Blu-ray counterparts. Maybe not on this one though. And if you've made it this far into the video, I mean, you're probably aware that HD DVD was a colossal failure in the end. Sony with Blu-ray won the format war. HD DVD ended up getting completely discontinued in 2008. And I think a movie called Things We Lost in the Fire was the last ever movie, a Hail Berry movie, that was released on the format. And I have read stories online that a lot of HD DVDs suffered from bit rot, with their discs refusing to play and apparently the surface of the disc kind of flaking away or going discoloured. But I've checked through a bunch of these discs I've got and they all look fine. And as you can see, you know, this is playing alright. And some people on forums are actually saying that as late as 2015, companies were still replacing HD DVD discs with Blu-ray copies if they rotted. So, you know, that was kind of neat that they kept doing that. And in hindsight, you know, I was probably a bit naive buying this device in 2007, as those in the know already saw who was going to win the format war. But I mean, for what I wanted it for, a cheap-ish way of experiencing HD movies on my new HD TV, and for that, I mean, it did its job for, like, you know, 6 months that the movies continued to come out on it. But I mean, even thinking about the add-on itself, it's not very often that you actually get a console add-on that is a major success. Although I do kind of wonder what would happen if Microsoft actually put an HD DVD drive inside of every Xbox 360 instead of a standard CD drive. Obviously the games would have been a lot more capable, having all of that storage available to them, and maybe it could have saved HD DVD's fortune. If there was a drive in the, I think it was 84 million consoles that they sold, that could have been a different story. But in hindsight, I don't really think that Microsoft were ever really that committed to the format. They really wanted to sell movies on Xbox Live, which of course they did, shortly after the drive was discontinued, with the launch of their Xbox HD video streaming and rental service shortly after. And the Xbox 360, in its original guise, was never really the best system to watch movies on. That fan noise was pretty noticeable, even in the loudest bits of your movies. So we can watch the 400 or so movies that were released on HD DVD on our 360, but can it be used for anything else? And is there anything useful you can actually do with this drive apart from watching these films in 2020? And can we get it to work on that Xbox One that I've got there in the corner? I'll be honest, I haven't tried, but we'll have a look at all that next. And the drive has started spinning up now that I've connected it, so something's happening. But then looking at the Xbox dashboard, yeah, no activity. The drive is grinding away. Let's have a look in the media section. Now, I'm almost certain there isn't a HD DVD app available for the Xbox One. But even the standard DVD player, we've got the Blu-ray player. It's not going to work, is it? Well, I had trouble reading this disc. Make sure it's a Blu-ray or a DVD. So, I mean, I've got a game disc in the internal Blu-ray drive, which I imagine it's talking about. Yeah, by the looks of this, it's yeah, it's not seeing the HD DVD drive anywhere. Just to be sure. More in the store. Let's have a look. Let's search the store for HD DVD. 7 app results. What do we think? Will there be one? Blu-ray player. Yeah, a few games. Yeah, unsurprisingly, there is no HD DVD app. Now, I'm not surprised at all that the drive isn't compatible with the Xbox One. Why would Microsoft go to all the effort of supporting a dead format that they were never really that asked about in the first place? So it is a no-go. There you go, confirmed. It doesn't work on the Xbox One. But that's not to say that the HD DVD drive doesn't have a use. Now, of course, in 2020, most machines don't actually come with an optical drive, especially laptop computers. And actually, you can use the Xbox HD DVD drive as an external, if slightly bulky, DVD-ROM drive. And as you can see here, I've got it connected via USB to my MacBook Pro. So if we eject the tray, and it's also obviously backwards compatibility with CDs as well, with the DVD drive. So I've got a copy of Windows 98 here on CD. So if we put that in the drive, then it should mount on my Mac's desktop. If we give the drive a moment to spin up. And there you go, Windows 98 SE. And you can browse the files. We can, you know, obviously this is an old PC operating system. Trying to run it on a Mac is not going to have any joy, but you know, I can read the README files and stuff. So you can browse CD-ROMs connected via USB using the Xbox HD DVD drive. And we should also be able to watch DVD movies as well, although not HD DVD, as there isn't a current Mac driver for HD DVD that I found. So this is just recognized as a, you know, standard external DVD-ROM drive. But for the odd time that you do need an optical disc, as you can see here, it opens in the viewer. I need to select my region for the DVD drive, which I don't think I've ever done. So, okay, so we're region 2. It's been that long since I used a DVD drive. So let's try that, DVD region 2. And there we go, we can watch one of my favourite movies of all time, Back to the Future, playing just fine via the Xbox HD DVD drive. And of course you can play music CDs. We could, you know, pop this disc in and just play an audio CD. So it does have its uses. I mean, I've actually used the Xbox HD DVD drive for installing operating systems from CD or DVD on netbooks, for example, or small little portable PCs like Intel NUCs, that kind of thing, when I maybe haven't got a USB stick handy, or maybe I want to install like a retro operating system that I've got on a DVD or a CD-ROM. So, I mean, it's not something you're going to use every day. And like I said, it is a very bulky solution, but if there's ever a time when you really need an optical drive and you've got one of these lying around, you can use it on your Mac or your PC as a standard DVD drive. And just because I know someone is going to ask the question in the comments, can you play a Blu-ray on it? Wouldn't it be amazing if it actually did work? No, and the drive just spits it out, doesn't recognise the format at all. So there you go, a look at the Xbox 360 HD DVD drive. Now, would I suggest that you pick one of those up in 2020? Well, admittedly, they are still very cheap. I mean, I see them on eBay still for about, £5 to £15. Although, I think the reason for that is, whenever I've read any articles or seen mentions of the drive on forums, on Facebook, that kind of thing, the general reaction tends to be, oh my god, I forgot that was even a thing. So it's not really on many people's radars at the moment. I mean, it might go on to be a collector's item in the future, but at the moment, unless you are like, either an Xbox 360 completist or just a really weird collector like me who likes to get hold of failed formats and things that never took off, then it might be worth a look in, but yeah, I wouldn't expect too much from it. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.